Due to my family's financial situation growing up, I've been working since I was 14 years old. And I remember getting my first paycheck and having most of it wiped out. And I only saw this continue as I got older and I had to start paying for things like gas, car insurance, and phone bills. The little bit of money that I did have left over got saved for college, or I used it on small dates for my girlfriend. I would literally be taking a look at my bank account pretty much every single day to make sure that I wasn't gonna run out of money. And I just remember thinking to myself that when I was older, I wasn't gonna have to do that. I was gonna have enough money that I didn't have to look at my bank account. If this sounds anything like you or your personal situation, today's video is gonna be important for you to watch. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Tyler Warlow. I go by The Mengineer, and I make videos on how to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and overall happiness. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the concept of financial independence, what it is it for you, and how you can achieve it. If you want the TLDR, there will be a brief summary at the end of the video, but for now, let's go ahead and jump into the topic. So first off, we have to address the elephant in the room, and that is, what is financial independence? Financial independence is when you have generated enough financial resources that you can fully cover your living expenses without depending on income from an external source such as an employer. This can be achieved in many different ways. You can achieve it by owning your own business, making wise financial investing decisions so that your investments pay you enough to cover your living expenses, or it could even be as simple as retirement. One thing to note, this benchmark is different from everyone. It depends on a few different things. It can depend on your living style. Someone who lives a much more modest lifestyle won't need to generate nearly as much as someone who lives a very luxurious lifestyle. Additionally, some people want to retire earlier than the normal age of 65, in which case they'll need to generate much more in order to cover the remaining amount of time that they plan to be in retirement. And finally, you'll also want to take into account your own personal risk tolerance. How willing are you to take on risk? In other words, how much of a cushion are you going to need in case something does go wrong? So with that in mind, why even pursue financial independence? It seems like a lot of different things play into this, but what's even the point? When a lot of people first start thinking about financial independence, they simply start thinking about not having to work. But it's important to not confuse financial independence with not having to work at all. There tends to be a lot of upfront work that goes into it, along with a certain level of maintenance as you go into that financial independence. But there are several benefits to pursuing financial independence. For instance, it can help someone develop a better overall relationship with money. If you're someone who's used to spending all of their money as soon as you get a paycheck, pursuing financial independence might be good for you because it can teach you to make healthier financial decisions. When you reach financial independence, it gives you a lot more freedom in terms of the decisions that you want to make with your life. By building a solid foundation, it allows you to make decisions without taking the financial aspect into account. For example, one of my own personal goals when I get older is that I never want to miss an event that one of my kids is having, whether that's a concert or a sporting event. That means that I'll need to build this financial foundation that's strong enough so that I can say in the future when I do have kids, hey, sorry, I'm not going to be able to stay late tonight. I committed to this thing with my kid. This can play into things outside of family life too. Let's say you want to really focus on a business, or you really want to start a new side hustle, but you realize that it's going to take a lot of your personal time. This could allow you to quit your job and focus on that for whatever amount of time you feel like you want to, without having to worry about not being able to pay for your living expenses. So I just gave you some ideas of what you might be able to do if you were financially independent, but I'd love to hear from you guys. What is it that you would do if you didn't have to worry about the money? Leave a comment down below. I like to respond to as many of them as possible. But moving on, how do you know if financial independence is right for you? Well, in my opinion, financial independence and aiming for it is for everyone. The approaches are what might differ. Financial independence, I think, is a great goal for everyone to work towards because, like I said, this can play towards something as simple as retirement. Just aiming to one day be independent of your employer. I think that aspect is for everyone. However, there is another movement called the Financial Independence and Retire early community, or FIRE. This is a subgroup of people that aim to retire much earlier than the normal age of 65. And there's a lot that goes into this. You have to plan for a lot more money to be able to sustain you, and you typically want to look at a few things such as your withdrawal rate. There's a lot more upfront planning and sacrifice that goes into that side of things. So what I'll say is, if you're someone who likes to go out and have fun with your friends and relax, the FIRE movement really might not be for you. The FIRE movement really focuses on cutting down on those extraneous expenses and really living a frugal lifestyle so that you can then retire super early and not have to work any longer. But in my opinion, it requires a lot of personal self-sacrifice. It's not impossible because a lot of people have done it, but if you like to really go out, have fun with your friends, and do activities that tend to require money, such as like going out to bars or concerts, FIRE really might not be for you. But like I said, financial independence as a whole is for everyone. If you found this video to be helpful or informative so far, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and it helps spread information to those who may not know it. So when have you reached financial independence? So I covered this a little bit earlier when I said it's when you can fully cover your cost of living, but there's a little more that goes into that. A pretty famous rule that was made is the 4% rule. It was a rule that was made a long time ago that aimed for 30 years of retirement. And it said if you were to retire for 30 years and withdraw 4% of your retirement portfolio and have an asset allocation of 50% bonds and 50% stock, then you would never run out of money. So how does this play into financial independence? If you're aiming for a retirement of 30 years, the 4% rule helps you determine how much you need to have saved in your investment portfolio. And that is going to be determined off your living expenses. So first, you need to determine your annual spending. And just to simplify this, I'm going to go through two examples. Let's take an example of someone who spends $50,000 a year versus someone who spends $100,000 a year. In both cases, you're going to divide that by the 0.04 or 4% in order to determine just how much you're going to need in retirement. In the case of the person who's spending $50,000 a year, that comes out to be $1.25 million. In the case of the person who's spending $100,000 a year, that's going to come out to be $2.5 million. So you can see how the difference in living styles can result in vastly different amounts that you need invested. Now again, that's just some basic things. So there's several factors that play into that. If you're going to be retiring for a longer period of time, you'll actually probably want to have a more conservative withdrawal rate, something like 3% instead of 4%. But if you actually want to figure out based on how much you're making right now, how much you're spending, and your current investments, how long it would take you to reach that number of financial independence, I'm going to include a calculator down below. So feel free to click on that link down in the description below and just fiddle around with it. And that's going to bring us to the end of the video. So just to quickly summarize, financial independence is when you've reached the point that your financial resources are covering your living expenses without depending on some sort of external source of income. There are different movements, and this can be achieved in many different ways, but generally it's a good thing to aim for everyone. One of the easiest ways to determine a kind of benchmark number to aim for is by using the 4% rule. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, or maybe something that covers this a little bit more in depth, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And that's gonna bring us to the end of today's video. Again, if you found the information to be helpful or informative at all, please smash that like button and hit subscribe and help spread the channel. If you have any ideas about videos that you would like to see, please leave a comment down below. I like to read every single one of them. If you're interested in more videos like this one where I cover financial topics, be sure to check out this video where I talk about what you need to take into account in getting your first credit card. If you're more interested in some of my more recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. And until the next time, this is the Mengineer, signing off.